the International Organization for Migration. That's the UN's migration agency. It's very good to have you with us. How do we deal with that situation where there is uncertainty about which waters a boat that may be in trouble is actually in and whose responsibility it is to provide rescue support?
It is indeed a very tricky situation. I think what's the most important one, and one that IOM always insists on, that cooperation and good coordination between governments is essential, because by definition, migration is across borders, and we really need to make sure that there is good communication. But what's even more important is that we take a really holistic view. So why are people actually taking these dangerous journeys? IOM has just released its missing migrants report, and the figures are absolutely shocking. So we've heard about the tragedy in the English Channel, but globally, since 2014, 50,000 migrants have died or have gone missing. And we know that the real figure is probably much higher. And the figures are shocking, but what's also shocking is that we found that many of these deaths could be avoided. And one of the contributing factors is that there is simply not sufficient legal routes. So people feel forced to take these dangerous journeys because they have no other options. And we very much appeal that no one should need to risk their lives. There should be more legal routes made available.
This is not just a UK issue, though, is it? I mean, we've seen tensions between France and Italy over who should take in a boat that had migrants who are trying to cross from North Africa. This is something that is common to many European countries. And are you seeing any patterns or consistency in the way that these kind of situations are being dealt with across those different nations?
Well, what we do see is that there is not enough coordination really happening, and there isn't a sufficiently holistic approach. Very often, governments tend to look at how migrants can be kept out. We need to really make sure that migrants get supported, that they can be protected along the route. Because what we do see is that many, for example, coming back to the UK situation, many who cross the Channel deserve international protection. So the statistics have just come out that in the last 12 months, 77% of those who claimed asylum in the UK have been granted that status. So it shows that people really deserve that international protection, and they shouldn't be forced to take these difficult journeys. There should be more ways for them to arrive in a regularized situation. And we also need to look at more upstream. So why are people actually moving? We need to do more to try to address the root causes, because we're seeing more and more people who are fleeing conflict, who are fleeing desperate situations. We have over 80 million people who have been forcibly displaced. And like we've just heard from UNHCR, only 1% of refugees are able to be resettled. So that's a really important international protection route.
OK. I mean, for the UK, as far as the UK is concerned, a statement from the Home Secretary this afternoon referring to the high net migration figures we've seen in the year to June. She points out that the immigration system has provided refuge for 144,000 from Ukraine, 23,000 applicants from Afghanistan, over 144,000 from Hong Kong. But she said the public rightly expects us to control our borders, and we remain committed to reducing migration over time in line with the manifesto commitment. So, I mean, from the Home Secretary's point of view, the UK is doing its bit, is it not?
I believe the UK is a generous recipient, and IOM is supporting these efforts to bring refugees to the UK. But we do think, and this is not just a UK issue, more could be done to provide that sanctuary, because 1% is simply not enough of refugees to get that protection. So we need to look at increasing the numbers, but we also need to see if anything could be done to make existing schemes more efficient. For example, the family reunification scheme is a very generous way of bringing family members to the UK. IOM is supporting these efforts to reunite families, and it's very important. And we have brought 15,000 over the last 10 years or so to the UK. But we have seen that more could be done to make the system more efficient and more accessible. So we have heard stories of families who were simply waiting too long, and then family members took very dangerous journeys because they just had lost hope. So this is what we really need to tackle with the desperation, making sure that we have more legal routes, but also, as I was mentioning, to have a more holistic approach of cooperation between governments.
Okay. Christa Rottensteiner, UK Chief of Mission at the International Organization for Migration. Thank you.
Thank you.